All right, folks, it's time. So get ready, get set, get comfortable, grab yourself a drink, maybe a little popcorn, because here comes another episode of The Next Conversation. I hope you enjoy. Okay, and
But I've been thinking about this, so I have what I want to say on deck.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been thinking.
So we're live, ladies and gentlemen. The first voice you heard was the legendary Bobby A.
That's
I
right.
got the Haitian Wanderer and Explorer, Joseph Mark. We're gathering. We're coming from three different points, man. That's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of technology, that we can still have this conversation, even though we are so far away from one another.
Hell yeah.
Happy Memorial Day to those who are listening that are in the U.S.
That's right.
Hope you had a barbecue. Hope you had a beer. Maybe you're doing it tomorrow. We're recording this on a Sunday, so maybe Monday you're going to be getting down, listening to some tunes, eating some good food, being with friends and family. So I hope that you're having a good time. Drive safe, especially if you're consuming alcohol. But today we're going to be talking about music, and that's all I know because this was not my topic. So I'm going to kick it to Bobby A, who's going to kind of lay out what he wanted to talk about today, and then we're going to go from there. So without further ado, I give you the legend himself, Bobby A.
All right. Thank you, Crow. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And obviously, like you said, I want to jump off of that. Have a good dirty barbecue tomorrow for whoever's barbecuing tomorrow, and get a couple dirty cheeseburgers in you. Some hot dogs, some chicken, maybe a couple French fries. Maybe, some people it's going to be some fruit and some vegan food, whatever you want. We see here in the nest.
We don't discriminate,
right? Exactly. Here in the nest, we love everyone.
You want a little fried eggplant? Yeah. You want a little sauteed onions and peppers?
Yeah, do well, you do you. Yeah, exactly.
Little vegetarian hamburger, a little Beyond Meat.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. So
ain't nothing wrong.
No. So the topic that has been weighing on my mind, and this was born out of a conversation I had with Joseph Mark when the Rangers were busy winning a game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So suck on that, Pittsburgh, you fucking pieces of shit. No, but much love to Pittsburgh. I actually like people from Pittsburgh, and I know the three of us have friends from Pittsburgh, namely RJ and Slowick. Yeah. So big up Pittsburgh always, but their fans are a little loud and they're a little arrogant, so we had to put them in their place. And so anyway, this is born out of a conversation we had while Joseph and I were watching the Rangers game win in Pittsburgh, in their home territory. So fucking suck on that. And it's got me thinking about how much music has influenced my life. Not just, oh, I like this song, I want to dance to it. Yes, obviously that's important. But the second part is, what song do you listen to when you're in a really good mood and you're really going, and that song just launches you into euphoria? And the other part is, what about if you're down, if you're a little sad, what song comforts you? What bands do that? The same thing. It could be a song, it could be a band, it could be a genre, whatever it is. And music is such a big part of just human life. It got me thinking, and it's we should actually chat about not just ourselves, but what the audience thinks of. How music has affected my life, not just in a party sense, but how does it affect your behavior? How did you grow up on it? Did it mold you? Are there characteristics? What did your parents put on when you were 7 years old and you're cleaning the house or the apartment? and what music where was influencing you, because that's what got for me, because there's certain Latin music that my mother would play, and it was while she was cleaning the house, cooking, and these songs resonate with you because I can hear them now. I'm in my mid 30s now, and I can hear them, and I'm like, yo, that's a song my mother would play when I was 7, and she was fucking making dinner, like shit like that. Like, so that's the topic, and I throw it back to you, Corva. That's what it is. I think it's actually very good because it's creative, it's artistic, it's how did music affect your life in totality?
All right, I like this. I
Yeah,
like this a lot.
yeah.
And I also like I know like from knowing you, Rob, in particular, I know how much music matters to you.
Hmm.
Like it is kind of like I think if anyone who knows you will know that like music you care about it. Just like you care about like pop culture, TV, movies, like music, you're the type of person that if you could sit and just listen to a record and
Oh
like
hell,
study
definitely,
it, like
definitely.
maybe you have a drink, maybe you're hanging out, and it's like you just like being totally absorbed actively in the activity of listening to music. Um, yeah, so this is I like this topic. I am going to start this off with Joseph though, because honestly, I'll just say this for I listen to music, but I don't think I have the degree of appreciation and depth to my music consumption that I know that you have, Bobby. And maybe I don't know, Joe. So, Joe, why don't you start with your like some of the things that just talked about? Like, how does music play a part in your life? Going back to when you're a kid, now, yeah. Like, let's throw it to you first.
I think it's the biggest part of my life. I
Mm, mm.
much like Rob, my mom, like, she would play music. Well, we would drive to school and she would put on like radio, like KTU or Z100, and yeah, this.
KTU, KTU. So for anyone who doesn't know, those are New York radio stations. Yeah,
Yeah,
big time. Yeah.
and it's like super pop music. So this is like mid 90s, like listening to like No Mercy and La Bouche and all this other crazy shit that no one listens to now.
Lisa and the Cold Champ.
It's just wild how much of a nostalgic trip I get whenever I like hear the music. There's like certain points in my, I don't know why. It's just there's something that clicks in me where I'm thinking, okay, I want to listen to this again because this takes me back to a certain time frame in my life where I didn't have a shit in terms of any care in the world. I was just some punk kid who loved like cartoons and wanted to just listen to whatever music that was playing on at that time frame. And I find that the older I get now, the more I kind of rebel against what my parents listen to, which is it's so weird. I would never think that would be the case, but like stuff that they listen,
Interesting, interesting.
yeah. And I'm
So, what
kind
do
of
you like? What do
curious.
you mean
Yeah,
by
but
that,
yeah,
though? Like,
exactly.
yeah,
But
yeah. Take that
explain.
detail and go a little bit further. Like, what do you mean by rebelling?
So I'm curious to see what how Rob feels about this little take, but my parents would listen to like Michael Jackson and some Prince and like a lot of like the 80s like R&B, 80s pop. And as I got older, like in my teens and 20s, I just didn't want to listen to that anymore. I wanted to listen to something different. I wanted to have my own kind of musical identity. So I just started listening to other stuff like new R&B, like Usher and like with alternative. I listened to more like Foo Fighters
Oh,
and
but you're saying like when you were a kid,
no,
you
like
began
in
to
my
rebel.
teens. No,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
and actually even then, when I was
I
in
thought you
junior.
meant like now,
No,
like recently you just started to rebel. But no, you're talking about like that's the natural evolution, right? You're starting to
yes,
like become your own person.
yeah, but and that's why I'm curious to see how Rob thinks about this because
Mm.
I think I didn't have this reverence for what my parents listened to. I definitely cherish the music that was of its time that came out then, like the like mid 90s. and then late 90s music, because it was part of my generation, the music that was coming out then. But like music before then, it took me a long time for me to really appreciate early 80s, mid 80s music. And even to this day, absolutely hate 70s music. I can't stand it. I can't stand.
Whoa, what do you
Yeah,
mean
I
by that?
know.
What
I
do you
really
mean by
can't.
that?
Like
Yeah,
disco, hate it. Absolutely, that's the most.
that's a shame. That's a goddamn shame. It really is. You're dumb. You're dumb. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking nuts? But go ahead, finish your
No,
point.
no,
Finish your point.
and I. That's why I'm saying I'm very curious to see how you feel about this. But like disco, I absolutely hate. That's the genre of music that I loathe the most. Like kind of like um 70s, like I wouldn't even call it metal because it bled into like 80s metal, which I actually do really like. But there's like 70s rock, which I just don't like. I don't like funk music. I don't like 70s R&B. Just like stuff before then. I just don't. I can't get with it, and I know that a part of it is me not being of that generation, not being able to appreciate it, and I know a little bit of it is also kind of going against the music that my parents listened to.
So you think part of it not you liking some of these genres is specifically because they were genres your parents
Part
like
of it.
enjoyed? Okay.
With disco, it's just the tempo and I know it's heavily influential in the music that I listen to now,
Yeah.
but a bit of it is just cheesy to me, and I just can't get into it. But a major part of it is it's just not of my generation, so it's hard for me to like dive deep into it and try to appreciate it the way a lot of people would.
This is I'm gonna just bring this up and we can talk about it after later. But I think that would be kind of an interesting topic. Like, why is it? But like, why is music generational? Like it's the same human beings. We have the same ears. Like, why is it that like one generation's music may or may not be enjoyed by like the next generation?
That's a good shout, actually. That's a very good
But that's an
question.
age old thing. Like,
I know, but like, why? Like, why is that? Like, I don't. I mean, I don't. To me, it's not inherently doesn't inherently make sense that like
mhm.
like you know what I mean. You have ears. Like, what's pleasant to the ear will change based off the generation. I don't know. Like, this has to be a topic that's been discussed before. But I'm just thinking about it now. Like, why is it? Like, why is it? I might appreciate certain musical genres of certain eras more than others. Like, why is it that I might like the '50s genre, a genre like a time period of which I was not born in, but I might not like the '80s, just as an example.
Mhm.
Why is that? You know what I mean? Like in both cases, I was either very young or not born. Yet one generation I like and one I don't like. I don't know. We can maybe talk about it another time or later in the conversation.
Just a brief answer to that question, and then we can move on. I think it's a bit more nostalgia, and I think it's also the just inflexibility of being able to adapt to newer things as people get older. We're just kind of, for the most part,
No, but I
there's
mean like a teenager at a highly adapt, which are highly adaptive.
Mhm.
Why will a teenager not like an older generation's music, even though teenagers of that generation enjoyed that music? They are both teenagers. They both have ears, yet one generation found that music appealing to the ear, and a later generation doesn't. Same age person, just in two different generations. So, like an 18-year-old in the
Mhm.
1950s loved that music, an 18-year-old in the 1980s despised that music. They both are human. They both have ears. They're both at the same age. Yet one liked those sounds, and the other one didn't like those sounds.
Uh, can I chime in here?
Go for it.
I think
I'm dumb. Like this might be like someone out there in the audience is like, dude, what the like? This is a very makes perfect sense. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why that's true.
I think it has a lot to do with your music when you're a child. It's more an association, nostalgic thing.
Mhm.
When you're an adult, you get to pick which concerts you go to, which music you like, which music you listen to, who you hang out with, who you like because they like a certain band,
Mm-hmm.
etc. But when you're a child, I didn't have a choice. I was forced to listen. I shouldn't say forced because I actually like the music. I listened to Genesis, Luis Miguel, uh, John Cicada. Like people are like, "Oh, you like John Cicada?" Yeah, I like John Cicada because when John Cicada comes on, I think about when I was 7 years old.
Same,
Yeah.
You
same.
see what I'm saying? Like
Living in the Bronx with your parents.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
That shit was blasting in the Bronx. 11th floor, Parkchester. Come on. Saturday morning. I just watched cartoons and ate cereal. My mother is walking around throwing on Christian Castro and Selena, and she's and they're and it's like it brings you back. It literally creates a memory for,
Yep.
Yeah.
or it creates
Like
a
transports you.
Yes, exactly. That's a better way to say it. Exactly.
I love that feeling. I love being literally transported back in time to it, you may have not known it, but you would think that it's like a age of innocence for you, and just that feeling of being transported back into that time
Yeah,
is
it's awesome.
second to none.
Oh, and dude, it's 100% an age of innocence.
Right.
Oh, sorry, you guys are hearing fireworks. I think. I'm sorry.
No, I don't hear it.
I do. I
It
heard
startled me.
the
I thought I was hearing it on your end.
no,
Yeah,
no.
that's if
I
you
heard
guys
that.
are hearing that. So I'm in New Jersey right now, ladies and gents, and there's someone that is
It
just
is Memorial
off,
Day weekend.
Dirty
lighting
Jersey.
off some firecrackers, fireworks. Yeah, but you're kind of right. I mean, music sound in general, like just hearing that, there might be someone listening to us now who hears the fireworks and as triggers a memory of a sound, when they were 4 years old watching maybe 4th of July weekend watching fireworks. Sound it is kind of amazing how sound works and like how memories are triggered by sounds.
Yeah, it's
Someone's getting down over here.
yeah. I hear it. I can actually hear it in the background. But yeah, that's kind of the impetus of why I wanted to talk about this because I'm curious for both of you. I know Joseph is actually really knowledgeable about music, maybe a little less about the Giants, but more about music. But he knows. Corvo, I think Corvo is more of a film TV guy.
That's
Yeah,
one thing
books.
I don't understand.
I'm a
Explain
music
that to
guy.
me.
I'm a music. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Chris.
I know you two are
Yeah.
both very musical people. Go ahead, Joe. What were you asking?
I want like a little explanation in terms of why that is for you, because even for like movies and TV, music is a big part of that for me
Yeah,
too.
huge.
So
Yeah, it's a
for
good
as long as
question.
I've known you, I don't think I've ever really had any music conversation with you.
No, you probably have not. It's probably the last thing I will talk about. Like, no, like I appreciate it, and like it's like I like talking to you. Like I like talking to you, Rob, and you, Joe, about music. Like I've heard you've had conversations, and I will appreciate them. Especially like I know when we worked in back of house, we would talk about Steely Dan and like you have a bunch of people that are musical or play or musicians that were working in
Mhm.
back of house at the time.
Love that.
Sydney Lovings, if you're out there
Yeah.
listening.
Also, let me cut you. I'm sorry, Corvo,
No,
but
go ahead.
Lewis. One thing you can finish your point, but one thing Louis Fiedelman always said, and I know he listens because he's told me, so he can go fuck himself. It's not, he said whenever he walked downstairs and he heard Steely Dan, he's like, "Oh, Rob's here." He knows. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
I know who's here. I know who's here now." Yeah. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Steely Dan to me triggers two people: my brother and Robert Avery. Like those two people, and then I can recall a conversation. This still, if I hear Steely Dan, it triggers this one conversation.
Yeah.
It was with you and Sydney Lovings, and you were talking about one song. It was something in the Cat. What is the song? It's
The cat.
It's not a Steely Dan. It's when the one guy did a solo album.
Donald Fagen did
Yes.
IGI.
And
He's
it's
yeah.
something in the cat, and I was like, listen to the song. I think you would put it on, and Sydney starts to explain, expand, and expound upon the nature of who this cat is in this story.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome. So
Yeah.
I like listening to people talk about music. And my brother is very musical, and I like listening to him talk about it. But to go to your question, Joe, I don't know why. I don't have an answer for you. I'll be perfectly honest. I've listened to music and I've gotten I used to listen to more music, but I never I never truly had a passion or a following where it's like these are if I had to list something that was very important to me, like you just said, Joe, like it's one of the most important things in my
It
life.
is. It really is.
Oh yeah.
For me, it would not be I don't think I would if I had to choose between blind, deaf, or dumb, I would probably say deaf over blind
Holy shit.
and not being able to speak. And I hope that there's no cosmic
Yeah.
I've just fucked myself. But I would say, yeah, in that case, because I think I'm more of a literary person where if I watch a movie, I'm glad you brought this up, bro. It's for you guys, you might watch a movie, and I think we've talked about plots, we've talked about acting and stuff like that, and you guys might be really critical or paying attention. I feel like Joe, you've brought this up, to the score, to the atmosphere that the music has made for you.
It makes a big difference for me.
And it does.
If a plot is shitty, but the music is really good, it changes my whole perspective on how the movie is.
So if you were to rank, let's say you had to give a movie a score, and two of the criteria were, I don't know, let's say plot, like the story, the written word, and then the second one was the score. Which of those two things would have higher preference in your mind?
Score easily.
Yeah, so for me, I'd be the opposite. For me, I would be paying a lot of attention to what they're saying, to the dialogue, and to the overall plot, and then score would take a second over that. Just to show you my hierarchy of what I'm paying attention to.
Yeah, that's
I would appreciate the music.
That's fair.
Or if the music was off-putting, I would note it, be like, something's not right here. But my mind and my ear would be less focused on that than what are they saying? Does it make sense? Do the pieces fall together? Is the plot done well? Are the characters believable? Is the motivation right? I'm very literary. And that's true TV, movies, books, because I would say my first passion in life is reading. I read a lot as a kid. So maybe for you, it was you listened to a lot of music as a kid.
No,
for me, I read a lot of books.
Definitely read a lot of books too. I just I think it was an evolution for me in junior high, but
it's interesting because here, take my brother and me, born in the same household, relatively same genetic material. He's very musical. I would say he would answer this question of music is the most important thing in my life. He classifies himself as a musician, even though it's not he plays professionally. It's no, I'm a musician. I play multiple instruments. I care about this thing.
I have a question for you, Rob.
Nice. Go ahead.
How did you get into Steely Dan? Was it your parents? There's certain music genres that I question. How did you get into? Because my parents, obviously, they wouldn't listen to alternative rock from the 60s and 70s.
Okay,
and my exposure to it was a little bit later when I got to meet different people when I went to college. So I'm just curious, how did you get your exposure to it?
Okay, that's a phenomenal question. So this is how it happened. Because the story, it just queued up the story. I didn't even plan on telling this story, but it queued up the story. So there was one day it was like you, Joe. I had to have been high school age, so I'm 14, 15, probably. So we're talking 20 years ago at this point. And one day I was over at my friend's house, and we went for just a drive, in high school where you go for a drive and you just you sneak
cruise,
right? Yeah, but we were smoking. The purpose was we were smoking weed.
I understand.
So we're smoking weed, and obviously you can't let your parents. This we're talking like 1990 fucking 4. No,
Yeah.
later.
No,
I'm
later
sorry,
than
yeah, I
that,
was gonna
yeah.
like
say later than
2000,
that.
2000, like 2002.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
94. I was watching the Rangers win the Stanley Cup. Man, I was like 7. I wasn't smoking weed at
I
7.
was gonna
Everyone,
say,
I fucked up.
I
I
think
was,
Rob, you came from a good home, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah,
Happened later
I
than
did
that.
not smoke weed
The corruption did not happen.
until like
Yes.
Corval, you nailed it. Like early 2000s. So this is 2004. Excuse me.
His home was a sacred place.
And oh yeah, it was very strict household and very Catholic too. We can get into that later because there's music involved in Catholicism
Yeah.
as well.
So go ahead. So you're
But
in this car with your
I'm in a
buddies.
car with
You're
with
doing
like
your little cruising.
blunt. We called it blunt rides in the Bronx. So
BBB.
I'm getting
Learning
high.
new things.
I'm getting high, and one of my friend's buddies, and I don't mean to get the macabre or like about this or dark, but one of my buddy's friends just passed away,
Mm.
or his mother passed away, not him,
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
and he said his mother's favorite band
Yeah, it
was Steely Dan. So he threw on "Can't Buy a Thrill" by Steely Dan, which came out in 1971. And I was listening to the song and I'm fucking rocked at this point. But it's like high school high. Like you can't
Yeah,
get
yeah,
this
yeah.
you can't
No,
get this
never
high
again.
this
Never again.
ever again. Exactly. And it just transported me. That's
Mhm.
why I love that you use that word. It took me to a place and I was like, this band is sick. And then he started to explain to me, like, yo, they're from New York. It's not, these guys are not from some like Ohio. No disrespect to Ohio, but they're from
They're
Brooklyn.
from Europe. Yeah, they're from where you've been living.
They're
Like,
from
New
fucking
York.
Brooklyn. And it's like, and I just couldn't believe that something that sounded so, there's just so much pleasure and it's so melodic and it's so like the sarcasm in the lyrics and how good just it feels audio to your ear. What's the word? Auditory. It's
Mhm.
just such an auditory pleasure to
Yeah.
your ear.
Oh yeah.
And he started explaining to me like, yo, this is my mother loved this band. They're called Steely Dan. And then ever since that day, I was like, I gotta consume Steely Dan songs. Boom, 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 boom. So I started consuming all of them. And they're shit. And I want to tell another story. You said Sydney Lovings. I'm gonna tell a Sydney Lovings story quick.
Hold on. We gotta set it. We gotta set the scene a little bit with Sydney Loving, so the audience can just. I want you to perceive who this person is. So, How old were you at this time of this conversation with Sydney Lovings?
I was probably in my mid-20s. This is like a
So
10 years ago.
imagine, a younger Robert Avery, Bobby A, in all his glory, talking to a man named Sidney Lamont Lovings. Like, just his name alone,
Yeah.
it has a melodic nature. It's
Yeah.
like hot caramel being poured. And here's this guy wearing rings on every finger, many of whom those rings can have precious stones in them.
They do.
But
Also,
not like not diamonds and emeralds, but like onyx and jade and whatnot.
also from Brooklyn, New York. Let's get that in.
Born and bred in
Yep.
Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Yep.
Slinging a guitar. Man can play multiple instruments, multiple genres.
He's
All
the
right,
man.
enough. Wearing cowboy boots, perhaps.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
enough
he's
setting.
he's class. Sidney Lovings is one of the best New Yorkers of all time.
He's just a
classic
classic
New
guy.
Yorker. He's a classic native New Yorker. So if we're having a conversation, because Chris and Joe, he asked me the same kind of question. He was like, "Yo, like, how do you know so much about Steely Dan?" And I told him the story. And then he goes, I got a story for you now. And so Sidney Lovings, he's gonna love this episode. Sidney,
I hope he listens. Yeah, man.
he
I,
might, he
I'm
might.
so glad if he does. Keep going. Keep going.
But either way, we're gonna know people that
Yeah,
listen,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they'll
yeah.
know
I'll
because
tell
he's
him.
the fucking man. Yeah. He used to live in Park Slope, and he used to go to this laundromat. And one day, he goes to the laundromat. This is like probably in the late 80s New York. So it's completely different where no one has technology or cell phones. Like this is the New York we're talking about, like
Yeah,
classic.
this is
New York.
old school New
Yeah,
York.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is yeah. A beautiful place that no longer exists.
That'll never exist again, unfortunately.
True.
So he walks into the laundromat, and there's some guy there picking up his laundry, and it's Donald Fagen, who's the lead singer and pianist of Steely Dan. He's the co-founder with Walter Becker, who I also have another story about. Rest in peace, Walter Becker. Rest in peace. And he's sadly passed. And uh, Sydney is he was an employee of this laundromat, if I remember correctly. I think he was, and he wasn't just there to pick up his shit. He was there to like start a shift.
Yeah.
And the guy hands him a paper, and he recognizes him as Donald Fagen, the lead singer of Steely Dan, and his alias, his like hotel alias name is Dan Steely. So Cindy goes, I looked at the ticket. He handed me a ticket and it said Dan Steely. I'm like, okay, of course I know where he is, but in 1988 New York, you're not gonna know it. It's like, who knows that? But he worked, so he gave Donald Fagen his fucking laundry, but
That's funny.
but aliased, styled as Dan Steely. He
That's
was
not
wish he had-
trying
I wish
hard
he
at
had-
all. Oh,
Yeah.
I wish he
God.
had that ticket. Like,
yeah.
imagine if he'd held on to it and be like, you know, I'm gonna
You
hold on.
should have, yeah, exactly. So yeah, Sidney Lovings met Donald Fagen in the late '80s, and he under his alias though, not as Donald. He's not like, hi, I'm Donald Fagen. Hey, nice to meet you. But he called himself Dan Steely.
Dan Steely. Yo, Sydney Lovings, if you're out there listening, yo, come on the show, man. Let's talk.
We should. He has mad stories. But
he does because he's lived in New York for so long.
Okay, so let me tell. I know I'm hogging the mic right now, but
Fine, go ahead.
let me
Ed.
tell one more Steely Dan story. So we have
Yeah.
another friend who the two of us know, Megan. I'll leave her last name out so people don't search for her. But you know who I'm talking about. She's
Yes,
from
indeed.
She's from California, and we used
Stop
to
giving
work.
details, man. Go ahead.
But California is important because it deals with Walter Becker. So she's from California, but she has family that moved from California to Hawaii, and Walter Becker lives in Hawaii, and he lived next door to her like uncle and aunt. So they had a family, but Walter Becker lives with his wife next door. He didn't have a family, but he lived with his wife next door. And one day, Walter Becker, who's the guitarist of Steely Dan, if anyone wants to look it up, lead guitarist, knocks on the door, and her uncle opens it, and he's like, oh shit, this is Walter Becker. But this is later. This is in the 2000s, so everyone knows who they are. They're famous.
Yeah.
They've been famous for 30 years at this point. And he goes, hey, I need a big favor from you. I'm too high to drive. I'm too stoned to drive. My wife just got arrested for public urination, because I guess
Oh,
they
man.
arrest you for that in Hawaii. In New York, you would just get a ticket. I don't think they would arrest you for that. But in Hawaii, I don't know. In Hawaii, early 2000s, it was different.
I
I
think
have
that
no
still happens
idea.
there too.
Yeah, and
So wait, keep going. So wait, hold on. I got to recap for one
Yeah.
second because I think I blanked.
Yeah.
So Megan,
Meg,
California, they moved to Hawaii.
Meg's uncle is there.
Meg's uncle's
Yeah.
in Hawaii.
Yeah,
And he's next door neighbors.
with Walter Becker, who's the lead guitarist of Steely Dan. Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Exactly.
That's
So-
crazy. That's freaking crazy.
It's unreal. And the story gets better. So he knocks on the door. He's like, "You got to take me to the police station. My wife just got arrested for public urination. I'm
What,
too
he pop a
stoned.
squat like
Yeah.
for no?
I don't know the laws in Hawaii. I don't know how it works.
I mean, okay,
But
keep going, keep
he needed to pick up his wife, and he had to go to his next door neighbor, which is our friend's uncle. And he's like, "Yo, you have to take me to the police station. I can't responsibly drive right now because I'm fucked up on marijuana." And, and then my friend's uncle's like, "Okay, like, where is it? Let me know which station." They go to the station. They pick her up, take her home. Next day, another knock. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh man.
And it's Walter Becker again. But this time, he has a gigantic freezer-sized bag of marijuana in his hand. And he goes, "I just grew this. This is the fresh crop. Thank you for doing this for me. Here you go." He gave it to him. It's just
Oh,
unbelievable.
man.
And
That is funny.
It's
So random.
It's so random, but fucking Walter Becker, we miss you. He was a
Oh,
man.
man. What did he die of?
I'm not sure actually. We should look that up, but I believe he was sick. It was an illness of some kind because he was only in his probably like mid to late 70s. Yeah.
Oh man.
But
Yeah.
Walter Becker gave our friend's uncle weed because he took him.
He died of
to-
cancer.
it was cancer. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew he was sick. It was an illness. Thank you. But like I love Walter Becker. Rest in peace. I have a shirt. I wear shirts with this man's he's on them.
So to me, it's kind of crazy. Like if you think about with music, I should appreciate music more, honestly, than
It's
music,
amazing.
than movies and movies and TV shows. Because if you think about it, it's like you talk about fame. Like to me, there's kind of like, at least lately, I'm like, why do people care so much about actors? It's like it's not their words, it's not their story. They're just a puppet playing a part. Whereas, like in this case, like that story is so amazing because that guy represents something. Like he and his partner made this musical landscape that so many people have appreciated. It was like it's them. Like it is an extension of who they are. Is the music they made. Like there's something kind of like that in a way almost trumps like
It's incredible.
actors and whatnot because right they're you're paid to fake. Whereas with this, it's like they're paid to create something that's purely theirs, and no one can ever really, truly replicate it because to replicate it would be like you have to become them, and it's just not possible. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a good description because music is completely different to acting. Like I'm not
yeah.
taking away from acting. I love actors and performances. Obviously, we know how much I love Matthew McConaughey and Aidan Gillen. Aidan Gillen might be my favorite actor,
but it is a lesser degree. I mean,
yeah.
they're only as powerful as the story that they're in. A good actor cannot make a horrible script truly better. I don't think. Like they can't make a complete dud a blockbuster. It's just not possible.
No.
Like they can only work with what tools they're given. But like music is different. Like it's a very different thing, I think. Sorry, I cut you off. Keep going.
Yeah, no. That's right. But I want to throw it back to you guys because I'm interested in this, especially Corvo. Because for someone who's not Joe, I kind of know this. I want to know what music did you listen to while you were growing up that like affected your personality and your character?
Oh man,
For both of you. Yeah.
That's
It's
tough.
a hard question. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I could tell. Let's see. When I was younger, growing up, I think I went through an emo phase. So like
It doesn't
could you get?
surprise me actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like I
That
definitely went
shocks me.
through like all of the like the emo folks back in the day.
Like
Oh,
punk rock emo.
No, more like
Like Fall Out
sad.
Boy?
Yeah, like
Okay.
exactly like that kind
Oh,
of stuff.
fuck. Oh, Jesus
Like not
Christ.
good. Like I actually think
Fuck
my musical
off.
taste is horrible. I liked Red Hot Chili Peppers a lot.
Okay,
That's a
growing
good
up.
I
band.
could
That's a
totally-
good band.
Yeah,
I could
and I've seen them
totally
live
see
several
Chris
times.
watching or not listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Incubus, I liked when I was younger.
You like Nine
Yeah.
Inch Nails too, didn't you?
Fuck
No,
you.
yeah,
Nine Inch
no,
Nails is awesome. Fuck you.
dude, I'm telling you, like I have like the most pedestrian music taste.
That's so
But the thing
odd
is
to
this:
me.
if you give me, it's the part of it's like I'm just not. I don't explore. Like if you or like Rob has put on music at different times, which I never knew about, but I will enjoy it. I'll be like, this is great. I really like this. Or my brother will put on something very random. I'm like, I really like this. But like I don't have enough of a motivation to like seek out. Like you guys are like hungry musical consumers. Like you'll seek out something to listen to or maybe to stretch your musical taste. Me, not so much. But I will tell you this, and you might find this funny. If I have an affinity towards like gangster rap, and I have no idea why.
What in the fuck?
Like if I want to like in my
Wow.
mind, I am like a character on The Wire, i.e. Idris Elba, and like I will tell you,
Stringer Bell,
like,
baby.
yeah, exactly. Like in my mind, like if I was like in the Matrix, you project the version of yourself you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably be like a black, like gangster from The Wire. Like I'm not even kidding. I don't know why. Like when I was going through my boot camp and I was like buckling down, yo, I'm getting hyped and I'm
See,
coding.
this is what I'm talking
It's
about.
gangster rap. I'm just like, yeah,
What
man.
were
Like,
you
that's-
talking about?
that's
Like
going on.
DMX and
No, I
Wu-Tang?
can't.
No, it's probably like
No.
early mid '90s, like gangster
Yeah,
rap.
more
I
like
can-
that.
Yeah, Wu-Tang or
Wu-Tang, I
Dre
listen
or Ice
to.
Cube.
Exactly. Like I will just get down on that and
I
like
can imagine.
I don't know why. Like I was listening to like The Weeknd, which is not gangster
how
rap
is
at
this
all.
now coming out? I don't understand
Weeknd.
how this is like new
You like
information.
The Weeknd? How do we've been friends for over 10 years?
So here's the thing.
You like
I
The
don't
Weeknd?
But I don't follow like a particular band. It'd just be like in a moment in my life,
Yeah, I could.
I will get in a pattern where I'm like, for something in this song or this background music is like hitting me, and I'm like, all right, this is like I need this for this moment. It like gets me on the right wavelength. Steely Dan, the same. Like I'll go through it. I'll be like listening to the same Steely Dan album for like 2 weeks, and it'll just be over and over and over and over and over and
So
over
you
and
get
over
tired
again.
of it. Yeah.
Hell
Because
yeah.
it's like I'm trying. It's like amping me in just the right way to accomplish whatever it is. But no, I have the most pedestrian, like horrible musical taste. I will fess up to it. I'm like impressed by you and like you, Rob and Joe, because I'll be like, dude, these guys like they have like very grown up taste in music. I'm always like embarrassed because I
Yeah,
don't really have like strong opinions.
I wouldn't say growing
About
because
this.
I would say unlike Rob,
Yeah.
I love pop music. Like I
Yeah,
love pop music. I really do. So I have my phases. Like this.
Joe likes
I-
Calvin Harris, so you can't give him credit for that. Come on.
Love The Weeknd. I love Calvin Harris. Love them all. It's just I get into a
Jesus
certain
Christ.
like a headspace where I
Yeah.
need to listen to certain types of music.
Yeah, that's me too.
Like
Keep going.
if I'm like in a like a introspective or kind of like a emo phase,
Yeah.
I'll listen to like Muse or I'll listen to
Yeah, I'll listen to music.
Radiohead.
Yep.
Oh God.
Rob's like, I've lost respect for
Just
all
too,
of you.
too.
I
just
gotta-
terrible.
Okay, we gotta broach this topic
It's just terrible.
because I'm trying to figure out what if we talked about this before, like
What?
offline, but I just don't understand how there's a certain like time frame where you just cut off music. I'm still trying.
Me?
Yeah, like Rob. Yeah,
2010 cut
it's
off.
just-
Yeah.
I don't understand how it's like
Oh, you mean that like after 2010, you're like, I've reached my musical max.
Yes.
Anything after
Yeah.
this point, I don't need to consume.
and I don't understand how.
Correct.
I really don't.
Yeah, because it's dog shit. That's why. Well, it's not hard to understand.
But Joe,
It's
who are we
not hard.
talking to? This is not a surprise coming from Rob.
It's not.
Rob's like, Hollywood, it ended in the 1940s.
That's right.
New York died when social media came.
That's right.
Like, you have these hard checkpoints, and it's like,
Yeah.
nope, sorry.
Baseball died in 1999. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's
Like, yeah, we know who we're talking to here. Like,
No,
this is
but-
not surprising to me.
Well, so who do you guys like? You guys like Selena Gomez and Ariana Grande? Come on. Really?
Ariana Grande is pretty damn good.
Really?
Yeah, she is.
Fuck
She's a
off.
good.
I take Lady Gaga all day.
The one thing I will say though, like with like pop music now, because like like if I'm in the car, there might be the radio. The one thing I do find interesting is like nowadays, it's like it seems to be all about the. It's like made in a lab,
Yeah,
so it's
it
just
is.
like the beat
It is.
combinations. Where I was like listening to a song recently, like on the radio. Like
my
I didn't
God.
choose it; I just put it on the radio, and it was like. I was like, this is the most pornographic song I've ever heard. I'm
Yeah.
like talking to my sister. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is on the radio? Like, but I was like, the beat, it's like, I'm like, I like part of my body likes the sound that they've created in this lab. But I was like, holy shit, kids, listen to this song. This is
But
like
see, that's the thing.
horrible. Like, this is not good.
For as long as I love pop music, it's like the 80s. It's for the most part always been that way. Like pop music in general. Like the
You're
lyrics are
probably
the
right.
most salacious thing of its generation at that time, and it gets worse as we kind of relax how society looks at certain things. But kids or teenagers, they don't listen to the lyrics or they don't digest it as much
Yeah,
as we would.
It's not literary to them. It's
Yes.
just like the beat and it's a
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah. They don't.
Joe, you're always the voice of reason. I love that you're here because it's like Rob will go one direction, I'll go and then you're usually in the middle, be like, well, guys, come on. I mean, it's like it's okay. The teenagers now, they ain't much different. You know what I mean?
But
like
it's
you're always
true.
you're not wrong.
He's
You're
right.
I'm
He's
glad
right.
you bring it up. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh,
See,
man.
you need something to ground you, Corvo.
Yeah, you're the
You
one
need
that
to-
brings us back to be like, dude, nothing has changed that much.
Corvo is the thunder, the lightning, and Joe is grounding us.
I like this, man. Thunder and lightning.
Yeah,
man.
we're thunder
Oh,
and lightning. He's grounding it.
I will say
Oh,
though, with music now, like I feel like I'm getting to that age where it's harder and harder to listen to new stuff. Like I can
It's terrible, Joe.
I can
terrible.
point out how when one type of music taste comes up, it like filters through everything for the next 5 years in terms of new music that comes out. And that's always been the case, but I notice it more as I get older. And it's getting
Yeah.
tougher to try to listen to it. And I think Spotify has also made it even harder because they have like a certain like algorithm or a certain formula for how they
Yeah.
want their music to come out. It's like now songs are like 2 minutes long or 3 minutes long, and
Yeah, it's made in a lab. It's
Yeah.
it's formulaic.
that
exactly
formula is just it's more apparent now because of how the patterns are. Like songs before were like 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes long, and the artists can do whatever they want. It didn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah, I remember Corvo. I remember when you said a Led Zeppelin song is a journey. It's an
Yep.
adventure.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Like Achilles' Last Stand is like literally you're observing Achilles' Last Stand. Like it's cinematic almost.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
And now, to Joe's point, I'll let you go back. I'm sorry, but the songs are 2-3 minutes because of the short attention span. No one wants to listen to a 12-minute song anymore.
And
Yeah.
they want to allow this definitely that. I feel like my attention span has gotten much shorter, but also they want to allow time for ads.
Yeah,
It's-
good
it's
point.
just-
Good point.
It's just kind of the formula is just making things so apparent how things are kind of like this cookie cutter kind of like you said, Chris, like a lab of just
Yeah,
making a
it's-
specific type of song, and it's just kind of
It's all
Just
made on a
sucks.
goddamn computer. No one plays instrument. I can't talk. Instruments
He's getting so fired up because
No
of
one can
certain
play
bands that we
instruments.
mentioned. Yeah.
anymore. It's all fucking computers. That's
Well,
where
I
music
think it's
is.
like Yeah, and you have to really probably go out. I mean, if you're talking about the radio is, that is corporate.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and like you said, with Spotify, it's going to kind of give you what you want. You got to kind of like have to, because there's still people making interesting music,
Mhm.
but it's going to be the stuff you have to seek out because it's going to be counter to, right? Like we live in an age of statistics and data analysis. So
Mhm.
it's like to think that that's not included in movies, like they don't use that in movies and TV shows and in music
That's a good point.
would be illogical. Like they definitely have stats on like what is the
Absolutely.
average length of a song we like, what are the subject matter in a song we like that's happening definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
So like the people who
Absolutely.
are like still free spirited making what they feel, you're gonna have to kind of like seek them out because corporations are not gonna throw them at you.
But that's the hard part because the internet has made it even harder to find that needle in a haystack. It's hard to find new music.
I don't think it's hard. I think we've become lazier because these software provide us so many like they get it's like YouTube. You go on YouTube, statistically most people are just watching what videos are popped up on the screen that the algorithm has provided for them based off of choices that they've
Mhm.
made. I think it's the same with Spotify. Spotify has all this music. I mean, you could easily find like Rasmus's music is on Spotify.
Mhm.
Rasmus is an independent producer
Hell
of
yeah.
music.
Big up Raz Beats.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to his last album; it was fantastic.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's great. But like, he's one, and there's tons of Rasmuses out there. It's just that their music is probably not going to get recommended to you. But if you just started hunting and
right.
pecking, you probably could find like all kinds of interesting stuff.
But
It's just like,
herein
go
lies
ahead.
the rub though. At our age,
Herein
it's
lies-
hard to find the time to try to hunt for music. When we
Yeah,
were teenagers, we
yeah.
had tons of time to do that.
Well, and you have the
It's just
desire. You also have the desire to do it, which I don't know if I have the desire. I think desire for me is more so than the issue than time. But go ahead. Sorry.
I personally think it's the timing aspect. Like, and I see where you're coming from with the desire because it's definitely this is a certain aspect of that. But I just think that there's more when you're at that age, you have more access or more time for leisure
Yeah.
than we do. So it's
No,
just harder.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that.
It's
Um, go ahead, Sarge. Rob.
no,
Go ahead.
so as I still want an answer for both of you. Who was the artist
Yes.
and band? Like this could be like the last like wind up.
man.
Who was the band or artist or multiple? It doesn't have to be one answer.
Yeah.
That like when you think about your childhood and what influenced you growing up, who were the bands or the artists that did that for you?
Okay, I'm gonna go first on this one. So I'll kind of maybe rephrase a little bit. Like there are certain songs that if I hear remind me of childhood immediately. Like they're not even music I chose. They're like you mentioned earlier, like
Yeah.
choices my mom would put on.
Mm-hmm.
So like Celine Dion. If I know more Celine Dion songs, like word for word, I could sing them than I should,
fucking
than a
ridiculous.
35-year-old man should. But that's because like it was like my mom really liked Celine Dion. She had like multiple of her CDs,
Same. My
and they
mom
would
did.
always be on.
Yep.
And like she'd like sing to them, and like I know these words, and I could sing them.
Which
and
one?
I have
Titanic, Bodyguard.
like,
Which one?
like all of them, like all of them. There's one I'm trying. I don't even know if I know the name of the song, but like if it came on, I could sing it right now.
Right.
So like Celine Dion would be on Meatloaf. My mom liked Meatloaf.
What? Your
Yeah, and
mom?
Yeah, she did, and she would have them
Wow.
on, and she had this is like cassettes. She had a
R.I.P..
cassette, and she
Oh,
put it
hell
in the
yeah,
car,
yeah.
and I knew, and I was like, yo, this is I liked Meatloaf. I mean, because when you're like you said, we've all said it's like when you're young, you like what your parents like.
Yeah,
you don't
man.
even know if you don't like it because it's like them enjoying it kind of rubs off on you. So I would say like if I hear Celine Dion, I can tell you the house. I can imagine what the stereo system looked like. It was like I thought it was so cool. It had like you could put like 5 or 6 CDs in at the top. Like I can recall this in the room vividly, and it was Celine Dion, and I was like, I know this.
Yeah.
Um,
I would do anything for love,
yeah.
but I won't do that.
The build up for that song is epic.
Oh man. And then yeah, like Meatloaf. And then a song that I remember a friend shared with me, a band that I was like, this was like the rebel friend who was probably more like you, Bobby. Like Pink Floyd. Like he was trying to
Ooh,
teach me the guitar,
Nice.
and he
okay.
was teaching me with some Pink Floyd songs. And I had never heard Pink Floyd before, and I was just like, it was so weird and just peculiar to like the music I had listened to before that it just like stuck with me. And I was like, this is like the weird. Like I was like, this is music. Like what the hell is this? Like this cinematic journey. Like some of these songs were just like so weird. I think he was also the one that introduced me to Led Zeppelin and like Achilles' Last Stand. And like
nice.
I was like, this is weird. Like weird stuff that I like because it opens your mind. Like Steely Dan will open your mind, especially if you haven't listened to that kind of music before. You're like, whoa, like what? This is music. This is like, very different.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my answer to your question.
All right. I love that answer. Like, fucking Celine Dion and Meatloaf. Are you shitting
Two
me?
polar
Are you
opposites.
fucking shitting me? Chris
Yeah,
Corvo?
man. Same. Probably in the same day, in the same stereo at the same time.
Yeah.
Those two bands were going on.
So we
For
Right.
me, for
Yeah,
me,
go ahead.
as a kid, I would say more so like P Diddy, Big, and ironically, what got me into the Foo Fighters was the song that they did with Diddy, all about the Benjamins.
Oh,
They did a
okay.
remix, and I just started
Yeah.
diving into them. I'd say
Everlong was my favorite
I
Foo Fighters
love that.
song,
That's my
and
favorite too.
that was like my high school like
Anthem.
background.
Anthem.
That was like my anthem. Yeah, it was very melancholic, but like yeah, yeah.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
It
go
has
ahead.
a
Sorry
tempo
for
to it too. I
Jesus
I
love that
love
Christ,
song.
that song. I've loved
My
I love
Hero too. That album, Color
Yeah.
and the Shape, is fucking great. Um, it is. I love Foo Fighters.
Corvo's music taste is unbelievable to me. Right?
Yeah, it's not good, but it's like Foo Fighters I love. I mean, I can't even hate. Like they
Holy
serve me well.
help
And
my fuck.
Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Red
man.
actually, I love them too.
That's a good band though. But go
Yep.
ahead, Joe. Sorry, go ahead.
2000s, it definitely, that's like my like pop era, and also like alternative too, like Yellow Card, Fall Out Boy. Um, I know.
Yo,
Two-
hey, I'm right there with you, man.
Did you go to Warp Tour? Did you go to Warp Tour? You motherfucker.
You know what's funny? I don't do venues. The only
Oh,
concert I've ever been
Not
to was
venues,
Muse.
festivals. You mean festivals?
No, I don't go to any
Live
live
music.
music. And the
That's
only one I've
strange.
ever been to was Muse in Barclays Center, because I fucking
That
love
was
Muse.
probably sick. Muse, that's
Oh,
a sick band.
th-
Yeah.
some of the-
I mean, they do from what I hear, they do amazing. Like,
Yep,
Yeah,
like,
performances,
that's a
very
sick band.
theatrical.
it's insane.
Mhm.
That's the reason why I went. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, 2000s, like more like the Killers, Justin Timberlake and Timbaland. It's just
No, you like Timberland more than
I
Justin
love-
Timberlake. Timberland
Timbaland is the man
is
to me.
the man.
He's like the man. He's
Top-
his very
top 5
taste-
producer ever. Yeah.
For me, I think he's the best producer in my lifetime, because he
Yeah.
can do any genre, and I love that.
Mhm.
Well,
Like,
he did the Crimea River, and I remember I saw like a video of he did the beat verbally.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
It's-
In
yeah.
one take, and then that became the whole beat for the freaking song. He did it from his lips in a microphone, and then turned that into the whole. I was like, this you're a genius. Like
Insane.
you're a genius.
But he
Yeah,
did
he
an
is- he
album
is.
with Chris Cornell that most Cornell fans hate. He did an album with Duran Duran.
Oh, that's
I
very
love the
random.
Yeah, I love how random
Yeah.
that is. I
Yes,
love it.
yeah.
And for me,
Aaliyah, he produced every Aaliyah album.
love it.
Wow.
Absolutely love it. I'm glad that those albums finally came out on iTunes.
Yep.
And
They finally released those. They're on Spotify too. I've been
You-
listening to.
Check him out.
Yeah. Check
I
them
will
out.
close out by saying I wish more people kind of like dove, and I know I'm guilty of this too, because I'm not a fan of country music. I said it before. I absolutely hate disco, but opening up to different types of genres, I'm glad that I was able to do that and meet people who were who helped me do that.
Yeah.
Like knowing like British friends who introduced me to like British music,
Mhm.
and people that helped me listen to like rock and alternative. I'm super grateful for that. Like I would have never. I don't think I would have ever listened to Nine Inch Nails or like Trent Reznor music if it wasn't for certain
We should
friends.
do we should do we should do a music share where each of us has to find a band of whom we've
So-
never listened to,
I like that. I like
listen
that a
to
lot.
it,
Yeah.
and then you have to give it to the group to listen to.
Done.
I like that shit.
I'm in.
And it has to be something you've never. You have to go find a band, a genre. You have to go out of your comfort zone, find something, and then as a group, we should listen to it, and then we talk about that album, and each of us takes a turn.
Yeah.
As like
That
a side thing or like part of a podcast.
I mean, we could talk about it live. We could talk about it privately. I mean,
No, I think we
we're
should.
pretty much talking about this is the same stuff we've having like conversations. So we could
Yeah.
do it live.
I think we should do it
Um,
live. Yeah, exactly. That's a good
all right.
shout.
All right, cool.
So
All right,
wait,
guys.
Wait, let me
Final
give,
thot. Yeah, go
Let
ahead.
me give my answers.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've
Sorry.
been very curious for
So
this.
current artist, I like Lady Gaga.
That's
Uh,
so surprising to me. I'm like
She's
blown away how you just pulled that out of your ass.
Lady Gaga over fucking whoever you
That's
just
fair.
named
That's
Ariana
fair.
Grande. Are you
That-
nuts?
that's
There's
fair.
no comparison.
That's totally fair.
And I like Sia, but I like Sia.
Okay, I can see you. I can see you.
because Sia Corvo will like this. Sia sings, writes, and produces everything.
Yeah, that's impressive. to me.
No one touches the album but Sia.
Yeah, it's her vision entirely.
It's her. She creates the track. She creates the beat. She writes
Yeah.
the song, and she sings it. So,
And it's
she
crazy the age that she was when she first broke
Yeah,
out.
that's what
That
I'm saying.
rarely happens.
Exactly.
She's been around for did she break out late in
She
life?
used to
she
be
did.
a writer. She was a writer only, and then she became a pop star.
I think she
Ah,
blew up in her
interesting.
40s.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
Interesting.
But classics. Everyone listen to Steely Dan, obviously Genesis, Rolling Stones, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Who else do I like? I like Phil Collins solo.
Mhm.
If people are gonna, that's my first concert. That's the last question I was gonna ask both
Wow.
of you. My first concert ever in my entire life was Phil Collins MSG, but not Genesis,
Damn.
just Phil Collins.
Okay.
Yeah, just a solo.
Yeah.
First concert for me,
what was
Red
it?
Hot Chili Peppers.
That's Richard. Joe.
Nice. Muse. That's the only concert I've ever been to.
That's crazy.
Red
that
Hot
you
Chili
believe-
I
Peppers
know.
and Weezer. Yeah. Muse.
Weezer.
They were together, man. Yeah. That was high school. That was a high school concert.
Corvo. What did he use? Corvo was rocking like a backwards paperboy hat with a long hair. Going to
Yeah,
a Weezer.
I think there was a phase where I wore the yeah.
yeah, like the cat.
Bro,
like
I've
the
gone through
cabbie
some
hat.
phases, man.
But
I did the
backwards.
bleach blonde tips.
No
at one
way.
point.
You did the
I
frosted
gotta,
tips.
I gotta see this. I gotta see
Yeah,
this.
I got
You
a
did the
picture
frosted
somewhere.
tips,
No, you
you
gotta- I gotta
motherfucker.
see
Yeah.
You frosted the tips, you. It's Jersey, baby. That's
Okay,
what it
this has gone down as
Yeah,
my favorite podcast so
that
far.
should
I've
be an
learned so
episode.
much.
is. Yeah.
We should talk about like things we did in our childhood and
Oh my
teenage years that
God.
we regret and are embarrassed by.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
All right, but
All
yeah,
right, guys. Well, this was another episode of the Next Conversation.
my
I hope you
God.
learned some interesting thing about we three schmucks, and we hope
Schmohawks,
to
yeah.
we hope to see you again.
Oh,
Have a
and
great night.
fuck the Beatles.
Yeah, Stones over Beatles, always.
Yes.
I'm with
always.
that.
Yeah.
Symphony for a Devil. That's my fave.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Peace.
Later.